Welcome to Shri Management channel. We all know that 31st of December is the last date for filing income taxes. But due to several other reasons, we missed to file income taxes even on the last date. These can be genuine reasons which happens in one's life, or maybe due to special circumstances, being away from India, or being in some other difficulties which was going through in the normal life. We have seen what happened during Corona as well. So there are two different options which Government of India has provided. One is using the updated return path and the other one is using the condonation request by filing that to the income tax department. Let's look at both these options online in the income tax portal. How can we best utilize them and when we shall utilize these two options and the rules behind it. And then once I logged in, if you go to the section e-file, you have an option to file income tax returns, and then this is something for filing income tax returns. This is a normal place we go to file income tax return. So let's say that if somebody has forgotten or due to some other reasons the income tax return has not been filed for the assessment year 2023-24, or let's say even something even before any of those assessment years. Then there were two different options what I was mentioning here. If you go to filing the income tax return, the one is for using 139.8A updated return, and the other one is using 119.2B, the condonation of delay. First, let's see when to file an updated return and how to do that. I have kept this details open. This is nothing but the income tax india.gov.in website, and then I have put a filter condition here on this section 139. So if you go to this scroll down, there is something for section 8A. That is what we are referring to when we are filing an updated return. So if you see this updated returns section, section, this calls out that any person, whether he or whether or not he has furnished a return under subsection 1, subsection 4, or subsection 5 of the assessment year, may furnish an updated return on his income or income of any other person in respect of which he is assessable under this act. That means in case if you have forgotten to furnish a return, you can also use the updated return option. Or if you have already filed under subsection 1, that means on time, or a revised return, or a return for delay and then a revised return, you can use updated return as well, and then you can file a new ITR return. That is one of the important aspects to remember. And then there is an additional provision here. This provision will give us a detailed detail. So from when this subsection will not apply. So this updated return, you cannot file for return of loss. That means that in case if you're filing for loss, then you cannot file this updated return. And then in case if you're decreasing the tax liability, that means that if you are bringing in more deductions, or if you are reducing the tax liability by any other pattern, then you cannot use the updated return. In case if this updated return results in the refund or increase in the refund, that means you need to get the refund from Government of India, then you cannot use it. And then of course there is additional conditions. For example, if there is a search going on, and if there is a survey has been conducted for this SSC, or if notice has been issued in effect to any money, bulletin, or jewelry, or a valuable thing, and then, or if there is a notice has been issued to an effect that any of the books of accounts has been seized or requisitioned under section 132, then you cannot use this return. That means you cannot file updated return in such cases. And also you cannot file an updated return in case if there is already an updated return that has been furnished, or if there was any proceeding for assessment, reassessment, or recomputation, then you cannot proceed to have an updated return. So go through these additional details as well. This section has few additional details. For example, when you cannot use the section 8A and file an updated return. However, in case if you are not filing for any of these causes, then you can use updated return to file. That means that in case if you're just filing an updated return, that means if you have to pay some amount to Government of India, or if there were some TDS declarations you forgot to mention, or for example, if there were certain amounts which you have for oversight missed out, whatever is mentioned in the A form 26AS or AIS, then you can file an updated return even after 31st of December. The easiest thing is that once you select an updated return option here in the ITR selection, the rest of the options remain same as we are filing a normal ITR return. You can select these things depending on whether you are audited or you are a political party or not. You can select the ITR option here, whether if you're filing ITR-1 or ITR-2, and then you can simply click on continue. So these are the conditions which I was just mentioning at the when we are looking at this section 139A from the act. So in case if you are not filing a loss return, or in case if you are not decreasing the tax liability, that means simply if you are not really expecting anything in return from Government of India, then you can use section 139A. So once you click on confirm, you can attach the file by creating the utility. So when you click on this link will take you to the respective financial assessment year, for whichever assessment year you're filing this assessment, you can download the utility. First, you need to work on the utility directly and in the Excel spreadsheet. So ITR-1 or ITR-2, you can select this Excel utility, download, work on that, come back to this area, upload this attachment, and proceed for verification. This is as simple and straightforward as we are filing an income tax return. The only thing is that when you are filing the ITR return under the relevant section you are using to file, you need to select section 139.8A. That means that you are using an updated return. In case if you've already submitted an original return and this is going to be updated on that, you would be prompted to enter the acknowledgement number of the original return. Yeah. The other option you have is for, let's say, if you are filing this even further down, let's say that if you are forgotten to file an under assessment year 2021-22, or let's say even up to 6 years from the current assessment year, which I'm talking about. Current assessment year is 2024 and 25. So if you have forgotten any time to file return 6 years before this current assessment year, you can choose the path of condonation or delay. The condonation for delay is something which was provided by Government of India with a clear intention that in case if there were genuine hardships faced by the SSC, then they can approach the assessment officer and then they can get a condonation approved, so that using that condonation they can file the return. So when you click on continue, once you have this condonation approved by the tax assessment officer, you can file the in ITR type, whatever the ITR type you have chosen, and then proceed for filing under the condonation approach. So this let me take you to a little bit of deep dive on the condonation rule. The condonation rule which is telling is under section 119(2)(b). So if you go to this section, this talks about the board may, if it considers it desirable or expedient to do for avoiding genuine hardship in any case or cases, by general or special order, authorize any income tax authority. So for not being joint commissioner or commissioner to admit the application or claim for any exemption, deduction, or refund. That means in case if you are really filing a return to get exemption or a deduction or even a refund from the previously uh, calculated income, and let's say for any genuine hardship, let's say that a family illness, or if you have been facing different encountered problems in life, then the genuine hardship, you can explain that to the tax authority and they would also understand that, and once they condone that, you can file that after the expiry period of this specific year as well. The only difference between the updated return and the return file using condonation approach is, in case of an updated return, you can file that until 24 months from the assessment year from which you have forgotten to file. That means, for example, for the assessment year 2022-23, you can file 2 years after that as well. That means assessment year 2024-25 and 25-26. So until 26 December, you can file that. But in case of condonation of delay, you can file up to 6 years from that assessment year from where you have forgotten to file or you have missed to file the return. The only condition here is that you need to explain that genuineness of the case and then the hardship faced and why the return could not be filed to the tax authority. And once the tax authority approves that, you can get the condonation approved and you can attach this and file. So then proceed for filing the return. You need to work on, of course, the Excel utility, download it, and then you can upload the attachment. You would see here where to file the condonation request, and once you approved, where do you get it? So if you see under services, there is something called condonation request. When you click on this, as of now, you see only delay in submission of ITR-V. ITR-5. That means that only the submission is delayed. That's why you don't see anything here. But once you submit a letter to the assessment officer and assessment officer condones your request, you would see the condonation request here. And you click on the radio button of that condonation request item, which appears in this page. And you can click on continue to proceed and use the condonation request path to file the delayed income tax return. This is pretty helpful in case if you have a genuine hardship and you have missed filing it, and you can do so now until the sixth year after that such an assessment year where you failed to furnish the ITR return. And the advantage here is that you can use it for exemption, deductions, or even returns from the income tax return filed.
So that concludes the interesting aspect of when to use updated return and when to use the condonation request approach. Hope this video was quite informative to you and then you got how to handle these situations. Thank you so much for watching, and of course don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.